It's so nice to be here after some time of doing everything online. This is Mette and I'm Petra, and we are both presenting this paper. I will first go through the structure of the paper and the boring stuff, and then Mette will present the students' work, what they actually did. So we are presenting a teaching case we did at GEA. That's our school of Copenhagen School of Design and Technology. And we actually did these ski goggles here, you can see, for the students. And then they had to go to the city and have lunch and around the campus and learn to see the world when their eyesight is different than normally. Okay, this is how that works. Yeah, there is some pictures of these ski goggles, but we go further. Is this also with hitting? Oh, now it went pretty far. Okay, here. So this class was a collaboration with two programs at our school. One is Professional Bachelor in Jewelry Technology and Business, so kind of a craft-based program, and the other one is production development and integrative technology. So technical students from that education participated. We worked at GEA Wearables Lab, which is a lab where we work with wearables and digital jewelry. And our main partner was Danish Institute for Blind and Partially Sighted, EBOS, later in this presentation. And there is a picture of our students wearing the ski goggles we made. And I guess I have to come close to here to change it. Nope. I'm sorry. We'll find the right. Here. Yes. Maybe I do it manually. Yeah. So here, the main expert who inspired the whole class, so we did this class twice because of COVID and restrictions and whatever happened there during 2020. But the main inspiration for the class is Christina Nansen. She's sitting here. She's also called Miss Blindspot. She's she's a blogger and celebrity in Denmark who has blind spots and wants everybody to know what it is and wants people to be aware of this condition of hers. And she's a very, very nice person to work with. So she was our biggest inspiration, and she was also helping students to she was giving feedback and telling her story for them. Then, of course, we worked with our wearables lab, which is connected to our jewelry studies. We've been teaching digital jewelry and wearables since 2014, and that means digital jewelry is when we have traditional jewelry, but we embed electronics in the jewelry. So these jewelries have more functions than maybe traditional jewelries. So we worked, this class was part of our wearables lab. And we were really excited and inspired of transversal skills. And Audrey was just talking in her presentation about empathy at the workplaces. Like OEC, this is a quote from OEC's report that social and emotional skills such as empathy and respect for others are becoming essential as classrooms and workplaces become more diverse. So this was kind of our guiding line for planning these classes, together, of course, with Christina's story. So how did we do this whole thing? So we had this class twice. We normally never do same class twice. We have, of course, same learning goals and like basic stuff can be repeated, but now because of Corona, we just had to repeat one class twice, and it was actually a good exercise because we learned quite much of our own work. But this is how the class basically went. So first we had this empathy exercise where the students were wearing these goggles. And then after that, they did superhero workshops, which we always have with the students when we force them to think out of box and then design some wearables for superheroes. And that's a really, really short exercise they have to do to not to be afraid of electronics first. Like, for example, our jewelry students they are not so keen on starting to do something with electronics, so we have to like break this ice with electronics. So that's why we do this superhero workshop, where they do electronic sketching with little bits or iDemo bits or some other sketching tools there. Then we connect them with users, where they do, and then they do wardrobe studies and make tool sessions. So those are the two methods they have to learn in this class. I'll come back to those a little bit later. Then they start prototyping, and then in the end they produce a final prototype. In this both classes we had to close the labs, so they are not very very functional prototypes, but they are then just 3D models on paper. But some of them were functional still a little bit. Then after that, Meta interviewed the students, so we got some learnings for the future classes, and also for this paper. Yeah, so to the goggles themselves. So these are very sort of low practical, so they are real ski goggles, which were transferred to imitate different conditions on eyesight. So we distributed these for each group of students, and these students, they didn't know each other before. This was their first day there. So there was 5 persons in each group. One was completely blind, so meaning that the goggle was like completely black, and then the others had different conditions. For example, if there was a brain damage, they would only see half this way. Or if they had blind spots, so we had made Mette and Christina made these goggles, so then they would have the blind spots there, or there was some glue to make the eyesight blurry and so on. So different conditions were presented with these goggles. And then we also had one person who could see in each group, just for the safety, for that time that they had to wear these at the campus and around campus. Yeah, so when we were planning this exercise, Christina was really clear that they have to wear this during social settings to learn the everyday of blind and partially sighted people, and they had to have lunch together. They had to eat together. To understand the situation better. So that's what we made them to do. And then she was so kind that she lended her gains. She's very much into her looks and like, yeah, her outfits are always matching, and she's really into that. So she has really good looking gains. She's customized by herself. Yeah, so that was the ambition for the whole exercise, that the students would understand these people's everyday joys, but then frustrations also when they were wearing these glasses. So now they are going for lunch in our cafeteria at our campus. Then the next, the user involvement methods here was, as I mentioned, wardrobe studies and make tools. So wardrobe studies, as probably most of you know, is a study where you go to your end user's home, and it's often used in fashion. So then they open the wardrobe and you have the interviews with the wardrobe. Here, we were not so interested in their clothing, so we didn't ask them to open the wardrobes, but more to present their help aids, which they had home. And a lot of these help aids are made by, like, at least customized by themselves, so they are not they are like things that are made, there's a lot of do-it-yourself in that kind of product, those kind of products. And then after that they had the make-do sessions, which means that then they designed together with these end users. But there, of course, the designing was focusing in functions of these products, not so much on putting it together in the end. So as we see now the end users here, we see them as partners, and this actually, the word is from the students, that they became partners with them. So these people, they were part of these teams, and they designed together, they studied together the thing, even though they didn't meet so many times. They went to their homes a few times. We asked a couple times, but then some of them went more with early prototypes and so on. But they became partners in this during this process. And now Meta will continue.
No, yeah. Here are the canes. You can see them. Oh. Some of them. Oh, I'm just skipping this.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you some of the projects that came out of these two classes. Yeah, this is Bracelet, and their user, she really liked to be social and go out with her friends, but then when she went to concerts or at clubs, she sometimes, well, she didn't get lost, but she couldn't find her friends. So she wanted this kind of a bracelet or something that could help her get in touch with her friends. So this is friend bracelets that then the other friends also has it, and it's connected through an app. And then when she touches it, and you can press the small stone, which is a button, and then it will light up and have a small buzz. And then the friends will know that now she wants to find us. And if they can't find her at all, then they can look at the phone. But the thing was that she said they don't feel their phone. So I can't just use the phone, I need something that is more tangible. Yeah, and we did the two projects, and one was more hit by Corona than the other one. The first one I showed you, that was only the 2 last weeks. Yeah, and I forgot to tell you that the demand for these projects are that they need to have a full concept with a poster and a 4-pager, and they need to have a prototype. It doesn't have to work, but you have to have the right size and preferably the right material or mimicking the right material. And then it has a function, so maybe it lights up or buzzes, but it doesn't have the complete, it can't do everything. But then we have an electronic prototype on the side which demonstrates what it can do. Yeah, so, but this is another social device. So, and this is also because we were isolated during Corona, but the blind were even more, and especially in Denmark, actually they found that, well, they didn't need as much help because everyone is staying home, so they took away some of the hours they have for help. And this was also a case they found, and also the students found that they actually, when they were experiencing this eating lunch with the glasses on, they were feeling very isolated because they didn't know who's actually talking now. Are they talking to me or is it someone else? So they had this feeling, and then they wanted to create this society called Hey There, where you can reach out to people through this wearable, and it could either be like a keychain or hang on your clothing or a necklace. And then you can, it also has a soothing effect. That's another thing with it. But then you can press the button, and then someone else will see either on the app, it's going through an app, or on the wearable, that someone would like to get in touch. And then you can also ask for, it can be either just a poem or a direct contact or a story or different things. Yeah. Then we had the Wise phone, and this group was, when they were interviewing their user in his home, he wanted to show them his favorite apps, and then he had to scroll through all of them, pressing them, and he was reading out loud what it was, And he was saying that it's really annoying because sometimes when I'm sitting in the train, I have to do this, and if I don't have my ear pods in, then it reads out loud, and that was very stigmatizing. He didn't feel that was very nice. So they created this tangible phone, like they say that they also really like the old iPhones because this scrolling wheel was very intuitive, and this guy, he really liked that. So they want to go back to the buttons that you can actually feel, because the smartphone, you can't feel anything. It's just a big screen, and you don't know what you're pressing. So this is their idea of making a more tangible phone for the blind. This was inspired by an older woman, named Numi, which was going with her cane, but then it only detects things down here. So sometimes she might walk into a sign or a tree or something else, and she actually got quite bruised by this. So, and as she was getting older, she was feeling very insecure walking out, and she was a very active woman. So they designed this necklace with an ultrasonic sensor, sorry, it's just gone. So it can sense where things are 4 meters ahead, and then it will send a buzz to the bracelet she's wearing, and it will be higher and higher the closer she gets to the object. So she knows there will be an object in front of her. And she actually called me last week and said, did they make it? Did they make it? Because I'm totally desperate now because she got arthritis, so she couldn't use her cane anymore. But I just had to say that, sorry, no, it didn't get anywhere, as most of our projects unfortunately don't. So the idea is really needed. Then we have the color spot bracelet, and a lot of our students also were very surprised that actually colors mean a lot to the blind, because the blind are not blind. They are partially sighted. Most of them, I think it's only 3% who is completely blind, at least in Denmark. So the rest can see something, and they actually really like colors, but they're very frustrated that they can't see the precise color. So this color scanner can scan the colors, and you will read it out loud, but then at the same time it will have a tone that tells you if it's a warm or cold, and if it's a bright or a pastel. So in that way, so you also can sense it. And this is also something for colorblind they can use. Because their user, he said, I always buy the same color clothes, so I know that I'm always matching. And he thought that was kind of boring. He did like to wear others, but he was afraid because he wasn't sure what it was. Yeah, and this project was inspired by Christina, the Miss Blindspot, when she was telling her story about when her son was a toddler and she went to the playground, and she got really panicking when she couldn't hear him if he went too far away from her. So they went this Accio with the mother and child, and also as they discovered through the user and also themselves, who constantly misplaced things as well, that then they wanted to make this, and we do know this, the child, we do know from other inventions like tile and stuff. But here it has that you put the button either on, it can be on your clothing, on jewelry, on the back of your watch, and then when you press it once, it will call the child 1, you program it, and if you press it twice, it will be calling child 2, and so on, and the child will then light up and make a pleasant sound, and then it will become louder the more times you call for it. So in the end you can find it. Yeah, then we have the bone conduction Sinise. This was a business student. She was needing to be able to hear the teacher at the same time as she needed to be able to hear her computer hearing, the app writer or other programs she used. So she needed to be able to know when she was taking notes that she was writing the right thing, but at the same time she needed to hear the teacher And also when she was working in group work, it was really, when she always had this earpod in the ear, she couldn't hear completely what everyone said. So she really wanted her ears to be free, and this was common for many blind people. So they designed this earpiece that you can have around the ear, so it's pressing on the bones, so sending the sound through the bones. And the same, actually, this was from the same year. This is another way. This is actually, they had Christina, Miss Blindspot, as their super user, and she said this then when she went to cafes. And oh, yeah. Do I have to stop or can I finish?
It's really hard.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'm not going to say so much about this. You can more or less see. Yeah, so we believe that this project, through the interdisciplinary work together with the technical guys, as we call them, because, well, I don't think there was one girl here, that they really got deeper into the empathy and also into the design thinking through all these different methods that Petra has talked about. Yeah.